Happy International Women's Day. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have this internationally acclaimed women with me today. Whoop, whoop.
Happy International Women's Day.
How are you doing?
Very fine, thank you. I had the time of my life yesterday at TISWAT's International Women's Day celebration. We are at Radisson Blu. I ate to the point where sleeping on my stomach was impossible.
Oh my
Started
God.
drinking apple cider vinegar this morning.
Yeah.
I'll probably take some positives this
Did you take pictures? I didn't see any pictures.
I think they took pictures. I'm sure they did, but I didn't. I was anchoring, so I didn't have the time to take personal pictures. But I'm extremely grateful to God for all that we've been doing International Women's Day for the past 7 years now, and this year there seems to be a lot more attention towards it, and I think that it's a good thing for us women to support each other and push for better influence.
Hi, doing Mariam. Happy International Women's Day.
Thank you. Happy International
Women's Day. Because you have global clients.
Yes.
your ML lifestyle.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
But today, because it is International Women's Day and talking about women supporting women, I just wanted to highlight an important female personality, northern female personality, Hajiya Gambo Sawaba. So she was born in 1933. She died in 2001. She was a political activist. She fought for the voting rights for women in the North. So you know how we always talk about in the North they come out, but it was on the backs of people like Hajiya Gambo Sawaba. She was...
Gambo Sawaba.
Yes. So this woman, apart from what she did, she suffered so much torture. She is being described sometimes as the most jailed Nigerian politician, male and female. She was jailed 16 times in pushing this agenda.
Interesting.
And so every time you see another woman making, putting in her vote, remember that she also talked about meeting Olufunmilayo Ransom Kuti and how that woman inspired her. And because of that, it shows you that women supporting women is important, and that it does not matter what part of the country that you're from, north or south or west, when we work together, the country is better for it. So,
okay, fantastic. How are you doing, BC?
I'm doing amazing. Happy International Women's Day to everyone. Today I have a couple of events that I will be hosting. There's this platform that wants to help empower women, empower them in such a way that they're able to own their own homes and houses. And I'll be asking questions directly. We have a lot of civil servants who work and they are not able to save up to have their own home. So they retire and they are begging for their pensions, day to day just to feed after they have served the country. But this is a platform that will help you get a mortgage. You can spread it over 30 years and just help yourself. As we empower women, we should ensure that we still try as much as possible to remove poverty from amongst us, and we can help one another, basically. So
fantastic. Well,
that's it today. Then at TVC Women's Network, we're having like
today,
a party something.
Today on, I think it starts at 12 p.m. Yes. So for me, over the weekend, I was also stuffed up this weekend. I was invited by one of my clients, and we had fun. And today I'll be at the FRSC International Women's Day event. Also have an NGO called Lead Generation Initiative. They also have an event today. And also another event in the evening. Prince Wowe is inviting me also to another event in the evening. Thank you all. It's International Women's Day. We're all applying ourselves in different ways to support women across the world. And we also choose to challenge inequality, gender inequality. We choose to challenge the patriarchy. We choose to challenge the fact that a lot of women haven't been given the opportunity, especially in politics and business and career growth. And today we celebrate all women and we ginger them to take on the challenge and defend the status quo. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're starting with The Nation. Police arrest OPC members over herder kidnap suspect. Women take center stage at this year International Women's Day. CBN's Naira for dollar policy takes off. Supreme Court Justice Nwuta dies 23 days to retirement. Wage talks by state FG rejects reps plan. And manhunt for gunmen after Ife Ibadan Road kidnap. All right. Let's start with the Naira policy. Because it was the biggest story this weekend.
Yes, and I was very, very happy to hear that the government is making a policy to sort of encourage inflow of dollars into Nigeria, because largely it is people use the black market to bring their money in. So let me just explain the policy. The policy means that every time you send in $1, you get 5 naira. So it's a naira for dollar policy. It's been applied in Pakistan, and they saw like a 2 billion naira increase in dollar inflow into their country. They did it in 2019. We're doing it now, and we're hoping to see such increase as well. So this show is supposed to let people know that if you send in your money through official channel, you get a rebate of 5 naira over every dollar. That should encourage some.
That's fantastic, because I mean, that should encourage family members to send in money, investors also officially. We want the money to go to the official channel so that we can actually monitor.
So Labour got an ally in the federal government yesterday, and the federal government is supporting, Labour had said they were going on strike because the lawmakers wanted to take away the minimum wage negotiations from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. But the federal government is supporting Labour and TUC and saying that you don't need to take away the negotiations. You don't need to have another constitutional review to take away the minimum wage negotiations from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. That what you can do is to, bank on the consequential adjustments which are done through the states. And then we have joined international conventions, and across all the international countries, they have their minimum wage negotiations at the exclusive list. And this is also to protect the vulnerable people who are workers who earn very lowly. So if you now have a negotiation in such a way that you are not protecting them, that means they can earn less than what they are supposed to use to feed.
All right, let's move on quickly now to the Punch. Health workers list. Uncertainty surrounds vaccination in Kano, Osun, Delta, and 8 other states. Banks who woo customers with new CBN Naira rate policy. Compel headers leaders to produce farmers killers, PDP tells Governor Fayemi. Controversy as Nigerian music label owner dies in Ghana, and Artist was arrested. Oyo OPC members detained for handing over arrested Wakili. Police hunters curb forest as government abduct 2 fresh Osun travelers. And unprecedented looting happening under Buhari's watch, says PDP. Okay, let's talk about sorry, go ahead.
COVID-19.
Yes, please.
So, we're all aware that we have received the first batch of vaccines, and that our president and vice president have publicly received theirs. But remember that these vaccines are supposed to be distributed across the 36 states. Just 25 of them met the criteria to receive that. And so some of the criteria is that you must have a comprehensive list of your primary, health, and tertiary workers. That's the technical group.
Right.
You must also show that you have the vaccination centers and distribution centers. But some states have not, according to the report, that they have not given those lists. But the states themselves, some of the states are saying, this is not from our end because we have given that list. I think Benue State is the one that said that they were still working on some things, and by Monday it would kick off, or Tuesday.
And Osun said it also,
Cross River also says that there was just a mistake with something, and then they would.
Well, good news that Lagos, Ekiti, Kaduna, others actually met all the conditions, and hopefully they should begin their vaccinations.
The human interest story, So the Chief Executive Officer, Cash Nation Entertainment, Babatunde Abiodun, allegedly committed suicide. This happened on Sunday in Ghana. According to the story, he said he had a disagreement with his artist that he signed onto his label, but the artist posted on Instablog saying that he was recording in the studio, and the guy just came and started beating him, and gave him some injuries. He had to run out of the house. But at the end of the day, he said he suspects that the guy has been suffering from depression for a couple of months, and he committed suicide. So they've reported, Lagos State is saying that they do not have the case reported to them already. So investigations are.
And the picture story really sad of the farmer who was killed allegedly by herdsmen.
Yes.
And the governor, you have that story?
Yes, I have the story. So the farmer was killed. The governor, the picture story shows the governor going to the place, but opposition parties within the state are compelling the Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi, to compel the leaders of the Fulani within the state, summon them to explain how this farmer got killed. They are claiming that he's shedding crocodile tears, and that the bodies of the 2 farmers were found dead in their farm, which is in Isaba, Ekiti State, on Friday. The location is around the Kole local government of Ekiti State. This is one too many killings of farmers, and that they should be compelled to get justice on this death.
Moving on very quickly now to Daily Trust. Accountant General, FRC boss still in office. 35,000 killed, 2 million displaced in Boko Haram war. Borno government. 4 herders shot dead. Cows stolen in Anambra attack. And 4 bandits killed. Rifles recovered in Kaduna. Which story are we taking here?
Let me continue with herder's story, because really this one is now from the southwest, Anambra State, and now it is the herdsmen that are killed and their cows slaughtered. There's no evidence of whether it's the villagers that did it, but the Military Association within Anambra State is saying that this is happening too often. Insecurity of herders who have lived in the community peacefully for many years are suddenly being attacked, their cattle being rustled and killed. So some cows were killed, many were rustled, and they left dead bodies of 3 cattle herders on within the community where they already live. So my challenge is, before we now get into a reprisal attack, we don't even know if it is the villagers that did it, or it is bandits or cattle rustlers that did it. Let our police investigate and be on the issues quickly before people take laws into their hands, because these herders have no AK-47, that they've lived peacefully in that community for years.
And the police in that same story said that they said only one person. Only is not only. One person is not only. But they said only one person was killed, and 2 calves were killed and 1 cow. So they were just trying to make it look like it wasn't as bad as it. But still, even if it's one person that died, that's enough. It's enough. Okay, another story in Daily Trust. Let's move on quickly to the Nigerian Tribune. Excitement as OPC will arrest notorious Fulani Wakili. 24 hours after abduction of staff, gunmen yet to reach out, says Nama. 4 cattle herders killed in Anambra, Mietiala alleges. FG would not grab land from states for ranches, says Oshimbajo. Fire outside villa was likely caused by cigarettes' presidency. And Borno governors uncovers fake 550 households in Maiduguri IDP camp. Okay, let's talk about the Wakili for a second, the OPC.
Yes, so I think over the weekend we had reports that a Fulani man, 75 years old and blind, had been alleged by OPC to have been the mastermind behind the kidnappings in the Ibarakwa community in Oyo State. And OPC Afenifere had commended, they had commended OPC for his arrest. But today's report shows that those who arrested him have been arrested. Wakili has been taken to the hospital. And it says that in arresting him, OPC apprehending him, his house was razed, his wife was burnt. These are still allegations. And government is saying that if you have anything concrete about Wakili, you should report to the police and proper investigation will be done on it. Of course, because of that, people have different views concerning the arrest of the OPC members who feel that they have arrested someone who has been behind the killings in that community and kidnappings in that community. And
other Yoruba leaders, Afenifere and even Iba Gani Adams, were saying that they were demanding the immediate release of the OPC members, saying that they've helped the government in apprehending this man and they've handed him over rightfully to the DSS, and they shouldn't be detained. However, the police is saying they have to ask questions and to get more information on this arrest.
Before we move on, there's a story in that paper concerning land grabbing.
Yes.
The Vice President was speaking specifically concerning the implementation of the National Livestock Transformation Plan, that it is a comprehensive plan to reduce incessant attacks between farmers and herders, and that there's no plan to grab any land from states or to overtake land from communities, and that 22 states have already opted into doing this, that this is a lasting solution, and I 100% agree with it. I cannot wait for full implementation of this plan, which we have been talking about for the past 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to take a story quickly. Midnight on Sunday, so the governor of Borno State, Babagana Mungunu, visited the IDP camps. and he just shut the door and ordered a head count immediately. And they discovered that out of the 1,000 internally displaced persons, they had 550 fake people who are there just collecting all of the resources that are supposed to be used to take care of everybody. So he is saying that he's not going to take this. People are actually striving to survive in the IDP. So we cannot have goods that are supposed to be used to take care of 1,000 people shared across people who are there as fake. So they are going to be investigating to find out the fake people, and they will likely be prosecuted.
Okay, let's move on to Vanguard. Southwest Governors YCE Agbekoya blast Miyetti Allah. Lagos butchers seek 50,000 hectares of land for ranching. Stop being tribalistic, Pope Francis tells Nigerian Christians. And bandit attacks, we won't close Kaduna Airport, says Fan. Okay, I think we've already talked about the Miyetti Allah, but who has that story?
Yes, I have the Miyetti Allah. So they had an interview recently, and they were saying that it's very unfair for headers to be asked for, and for states to say that they are going to ban open grazing. That is actually like an eviction notice, and it's not like there's a closed grazing anywhere. So there should be options available for these headers. But the Yoruba Council of Elders and Southwest governors are saying you cannot be in a state and you do not want to obey the laws of the land. That these laws were actually passed through the National Assembly, and it was given as law. So if you want to stay in the state, they are not stopping people from free flow of entry into any state. As Nigerians, you have a right to live in any state, but you need to obey the laws of the land. And if they disobey, they will likely be prosecuted. I want to appeal that the talks that are ongoing for peace, we should continue. Let us find a way to work together. So if you have to stay in a land, see how you recognize and obey the laws of that land.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up now on Front Page Review. Thank you very much, ladies. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we celebrate International Women's Day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So today is International Women's Day with the theme, I Choose to Challenge. On the show today, we'll be celebrating all Nigerian women by adding our voices to the eradication of societal problems bedeviling Nigerian women, and also preferring workable solutions. Join the conversation on 081-270-53687, and you can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. So, International Women's Day, and I know that you also had a message. All of us had messages for this season. I'd like to start with you, Tokwe, on what your message was and what you would like to see in the new Nigeria and the new world with women empowered.
Yeah, my message was that I want to focus on positive visibility for women, and I choose to challenge objectification of women. So, like it or not, we'll always be seen because of how we look, the way we've been designed by God. We would always be seen. But I want us to be seen in a positive light. So my push is positive visibility for women. Don't objectify women. Let women be seen for the values they bring to the table. We have conversations all the time. When a woman is successful, they're trying to find out who is the man that is powering this success. Trying to find out who is she sleeping with to get to this place. Who is bankrolling this move. No, there must be somebody behind the scene that we don't know about. And that needs to stop. We need to start seeing women and understanding that they've achieved this because they have the competence, they have the values, they've grown their way to where they are, and they should be treated as such. And more importantly, there is something going on nationwide right now. There's a massive political campaign move, and I told myself that once I come on this show, because I'm on this show, I can't join a political party because it will taint whatever I say. They'll start saying it as you are representing one person. But women are usually at the background of all the political campaigns in Nigeria. What I want is for women to start applying more for political position, being more influential than just gathering the mass. We must go beyond being the critical mass. I don't think you should
look at it that way. If you want to join a political party, please join a political party. It has nothing to do with your show. That's your personal life, please. Let's not even bring that into that conversation. But let me call for the clip where we give our messages and then we'll discuss it. Watch this. All right, let me come to you, Mariam.
Okay. So for me, I spoke about, I said I choose to challenge gender stereotype, bias, and inequality. And the truth is that many times for the girl child, for many Nigerians, it's that there's a certain age, there's a certain age that you're expected to have done at least minimum education that you get. There's a certain age that you're expected to get married. There are some certain jobs that if you even express that you want to do, you'll be looked at a certain way like, but you're a girl, but you're a woman. Why would you want to do things like that? And then there's also the part where even when a woman, a girl child, passes through those challenges and finally, you know, gets to the point where she has a career, she's doing well in her job, there's also that challenge at her work where sometimes it feels that no matter how hard she works, no matter what she puts in at work, she still is not compensated the same way her male counterpart is compensated. The credit and respect that will be given to her male counterpart is like she has to fight twice as hard to get that. And so for me is that let's have a better understanding that a woman is just as equal as the man. She should be judged not because of her gender, but should be judged for the value that she brings, the work that she does, you know, the impact that she makes, and that is what is most important. So that's what I choose to challenge.
Oh, cool. So, Mariam, BC, what's your challenge?
I personally choose to challenge many things, but I'm going to pick two. Now, the first one is, I realize that in some parts of the country, women are still disinherited when it comes to their parents' properties. The cultural norms that hold that you are a woman, you're going to be married out, you have no place in this place once you're married. And when the parents die, you find out that no properties are shared to the women. I'm using myself as an example. In as much as women are the ones who take care of their parents even the most, they have no place for inheritance in some parts of the country. Now, if anything happens and my father goes, I have not one piece of land, not 50 kobo anywhere from him. I'm not going to inherit anything from him because I'm no longer bearing his name. I think this is very unfair to the female gender, and we need to push it forward. I also have an issue with early marriage. UNICEF over time discovered that about 16% of young girls marry at the age of 15 and 43% marry at the age of 18 in Nigeria, and it's more prevalent in some parts of the country. I think it's something we all need to push. Girls should be allowed to grow as girls. You don't expect a girl to start nurturing another child when she doesn't even understand herself. That's the time she's supposed to be in school learning to become a better human being. I think that's you know, the way we see women sometimes, because of patriarchy, it seems like we're a bit more inferior than the boy child. And I think this is something we need to push. We need to have laws that protect women, that protect young girls from being snatched up and married when they are still struggling to understand how to change their diapers.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking about the theme for this year's International Women's Day, which is I Choose to Challenge. And I know in the video we're going to play it for you in a moment, I chose to challenge patriarchy, which we know is a social system where the men dominate in political thinking and in the political positioning and even in the social authority, and social and moral authority. So you see a society where it's about, oh, you're not married, you know, you're not a respectable woman until you're married and, you know, you are Mrs. Somebody. You know, these are things where we've grown up in that society where a woman is defined by who she's married to and the fact that she has a family. And we're challenging that today, saying that a woman should be respected for who she is, for the content of her character and her accomplishments, not so much about who she's married to. And we must be able to separate a woman from a wife. These are two different roles, and we play them separately and individually, and each role deserves its own different respect. And I think, well, we're all together in that.
I really must chime in on that, on your conversation, because yesterday there were a lot of matured single women at the event I anchored, and I heard this over and over again. Obviously, it's a pain point, because every time they see their achievement, people don't rate their achievements as women because they are not wives. So as a woman, you're a complete human being. If you add being a wife to it, fantastic. But without being a wife, a woman is still all there is and more. Right. And I think that it really resonated over and over all through the program yesterday. So I'm happy that you highlighted that point in your push against patriarchy. We'd
like to invite our callers to also call in and tell us what they choose to challenge, especially today. You can call us on 091-390-76 948 and 081-270-53687. Don't forget to tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweets. Mary, we're going to add to. We're going to say something.
Yes, earlier, you know, I'd spoken about Hajiya Gambo Sawaba. So Hajiya Gambo Sawaba was born in 1933. And she died in 2001. She's a very inspiring northern female personality to me and for many others. So this woman in the 1950s, she pushed for the voting rights of northern Nigerian women. You know, at that time, women like Mrs. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, Margaret Ekpo in the East, you know, were doing that, lending their voice to social justice, you know, and all the causes that highlighted women's rights. And she said she was inspired by Funmilayo Ransome Kuti. She even traveled to Abeokuta to meet her. And she says meeting her, you know, lit up a fire in her. This woman, in the time that she was pushing this campaign, suffered so much. She was jailed 16 times. She was tortured. She was harassed. But it did not stop her. And the reason I'm highlighting her is that, you know, usually when we talk about voting in the North, people say, oh, the North, they all come out. Everybody comes out. You know, even their women. It is because of the sacrifices of the voice of women like Hajiya Gambo Sawaba that we have women in the North who stand in the sun, you know, and the rain to cast their vote. It is because of relationships between Hajiya Gambo Sawaba and people like Funmilayo Ransome Kuti shows women supporting women. And it also shows it doesn't matter what part of Nigeria you're from. You can inspire each other, support each other, as long as the cause is, you know, social justice for everybody.
Let me take this call. Hassan's been holding for a while. Hassan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please. Morning.
Please let me double a bit into our Christian side today. In Job 14, they say, a man who is born of a woman, not a man who is born of a man. That shows how special women are. This issue of dragging position with women, I don't see it in our clients. Everybody has his own area of specialty. Let me give you a very simple example here. If you want money for safe custody, even in a company or anywhere, you give it to a woman. That shows women are much more financially disciplined than women. And when we are talking about all this kind of a thing, you see, there's no way women at times in corporate world give themselves a name in the sense that this common thing they used to say, you use what you have to get what you want. That one erodes all kind of qualification. It degrades women completely. But let me tell you what is here. Women are great. We cannot look at our mothers and say that they're not great. So I don't see any reason why there should be a demarcation between the two. Anybody can be anything. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Hassan. So let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll play that video for you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be
This year, we must begin to change the perspective that a girl child is not as important as a boy child.
Every child is important, male or female.
Women are beyond cooks and housekeepers. They can be much more, and they are being, and we must recognize that.
A woman who's put in the same value and made the same impact at work should be paid based on her impact and her value, and not based on her gender.
So women deserve a seat at the table of leadership, table of corporate growth, and in every strata of society.
Women are seen everywhere. We have the shape and the attractive disposition, but we are objectified most of the time.
Do not look at us down there. Look at us as your equals, as your partners.
Let us be seen for what we truly are, the value we bring to the table, the virtues we represent. This is the season where we should push for positive visibility. All the non-physical attributes that make us tick. That is what I want us to push for.
Stop mutilating our women. Stop mutilating our girls. Let them grow up naturally.
There are certain cultures in Nigeria and Africa that does not allow the female child own properties or have access to their parents' properties after their demise.
She can earn it, she can own it. She can own whatever, properties and everything that she wants, and it can be in her name. And she can choose to give it to whoever she chooses by inheritance.
My name is BC Ugo, and I choose to challenge cultural norms that disinherit women.
I am Nima Akasha Zibiri. I choose to challenge stereotypes and biases against women.
My name is Mariam Lunge. I choose to challenge gender, stereotypes, bias, and inequality.
I am Tokwe Mark Odige. I choose to challenge objectification of women.
My name is Yeni Anikolako Kuti. I challenge female gender mutilation.
I'm Raya Falabi Brown, and I challenge patriarchy.
Happy
International Women's Day.
Choose your challenge.
That was powerful.
I was so inspired watching
it.
Like, I'm watching, you know, but like everybody chose really.
Listen, let me come to you, because I know you talked about the issue of inheritance. It's such an important aspect of what we're challenging this time around. Tell me, let me hear another angle to that.
Yeah, so there's also something I noticed that as landlords, people tend to reduce women to the level of children, whereby you have, as a single lady, you have to come get a house or a home with somebody else, a brother, a husband. If you don't have a husband, it has to be like a friend. But there must be a male, there must be a male figure that accompanies you for you to be given a house. It is very prevalent in this part of the world, and I think it's something we need to fight against. A woman is a human being, first of all. She has the right to work, she has the right to education, she has the right to earn a living. And if she says, I want to stay in this particular place, I don't think she can afford it. Exactly, and she can pay. You are sure she can pay. You don't need her to get somebody to give her consent. Like me taking my child to a school for registration, and they need the consent of the parents. So we reduce women.
Interestingly, somebody was telling me just a few days ago, recently, that she wanted to register a child in school, and they were asking for the father. That they had to interview both mother and father. She's like, I'm a single mother, and they were not willing to bring her into the allow her child. Why would you stop a child?
Discriminate against a
little child
who already has a lot of struggle raising that child alone.
So these are things that we need to begin to change. And change the thinking of our people, reorientate the mentality of the patriarchy that we have in this country, and hope that women can begin to have that equal chance to be seen as human beings. And
I want to talk about what YK challenged, female genital mutilation. Nigeria still, yes, over the past 10 years, the number has dropped by half in terms of number of women being that have gone through female genital mutilation in Nigeria, but we're still number 4 worldwide that mutilates women in the name of keeping the culture and tradition. I choose to challenge, and I join YK in choosing to challenge female genital mutilation. We need to stop this abusive culture. We need to stop using culture to force women to go through horror, especially when they do it for adults. people that are entering maturity. It is extremely painful. Oh, it is extremely not right. So let women grow up naturally. Yeah. Let women grow up the way they were born. Yeah. Don't mutilate them in a way to curb their sexuality.
Let me bring in our guest, because the International Women's Day is obviously a symbolic celebration for women worldwide, and commemorating this year's occasion during this noteworthy day, which is celebrating the cultural, political, social, and economic achievements of women, we have the wife of the custodian of the Yoruba culture and the Oni of Ife, Olori Naomi Ogunwusi. Welcome to the show, ma'am. Welcome, madam. Olori, I think you're still muted, ma.
Hello, hello, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, but I can't see you yet. Is your camera on?
I don't know why you can't see me. I started the video here.
Okay. All right, so good to have you on the show, Olori.
Good morning.
Yes. Let me start with what your challenge is. Everybody is saying they choose to challenge something concerning how women have been discriminated for ages. Let me start with your own challenge. What are those things you've observed in society and you choose to challenge that this year as we celebrate International Women's Day?
Oh, okay. I choose to challenge how women from very early age are being, there's a lot of discrimination, there's a lot of ills in the society. From being a baby girl, from being a child, there's a lot of discrimination. A child is born, it's a girl, and then the father is contemplating, especially in this part of the continent, in this part of the world, it's a girl, and then there's no full joy, and then the girl starts to grow again, and being a girl is why you can't do this, why you can't do that, and then the issue of the female genital mutilation, it's something that has been in the culture before now, so I'm campaigning against it, doing everything I can to see that that is not done to the girls, all because they think if a girl is not circumcised, she will be promiscuous. I have never seen a situation whereby a man is injured or wounded so that a baby boy is wounded so that when he grows up, he's not going to be promiscuous. So I don't know why the issue of promiscuity is only being treated with the girls alone and not with the boys.
Right. Fantastic.
So those are one of the things I'm working against and challenging this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma, let me ask you this. I know that those women in the villages who, carry out this female genital mutilation, they take it as a means of livelihood. It's a job, so they are paid for it.
Hello?
Can you hear me, ma?
Yes, a bit louder.
Okay, I'm saying that the women who carry out this female genital mutilation, they take it as their means of livelihood. You actually pay to get it done. Parents pay for their children, married children. Now, in your quest to speak against it and try to eradicate it, is there any way that these women can be transferred from that means of livelihood to something else that will give them a way, make them, empowered so that they drop the blade? Because if they are not able to feed, they will likely still go behind to continue female genital mutilation like we have today.
Okay, well, there are better things these women can do if they are sensitized, if they are told what exactly this thing does to our girls, and they know it's evil. There are better ways to make a livelihood. You do not have to steal to make a livelihood. They can learn skills. We empower them. We talk to these women. There are various skills that they can learn. They can begin to sell. They can begin to make dresses. They can learn so many things so they don't continue in this act. And they can also be part of the campaign against these things. As they begin to campaign and teach other people, a lot of these women who do these things also are very skillful with delivery of babies and all of that. So they can go to school, they can learn more about it and do that instead of mutilating our girls.
Okay. Yes. Olori, so we know that in our culture, the voice of the woman is sometimes tampered, like they want to diminish you. There are some places you're allowed to use your voice, and then there's some places that is determined for you where to use it, how to use it. Either a father determines that, a husband determines that. And sometimes people would say, where you find yourself as the Olori, do you think this, this platform that you have now, this marriage that you have now, does that empower you to use your voice? Or are there challenges being an Olori and then using your voice for causes that affect women?
Well, of course, for me, it has encouraged me. It's been a very good platform for me to actually speak for women. I represent women. I speak against anything that brings women down. Well, for some people, they might say that there's this culture of you have to keep quiet, but I don't see that happening in this new age and time. The kings are more, they are more enlightened, and the old culture of women keep quiet, I don't think that's happening anymore anywhere. My husband, being the leader of the race, of the Yoruba race, he has led by example. He has been very wonderful and supportive, and would even push me to go out there and speak for women.
Wow. All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation with the Olori. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the Olori Silekunola Naomi Ogunwusi with us. Olori, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great to have you. Very soon. Hopefully, before the end of the show, we'll see your face because we really want to see your face.
So, right. I want to ask you a question, Ma. It's, you know, congratulations on your birth of your boy.
The prince.
Yes, the crown prince. The crown prince. And honestly, it took a while, and it's something that we should challenge, where a woman gets married and in a waiting period, people put a lot of pressure on women for not having children without understanding whatever biological, emotional burden she's also carrying. But then there's an additional pressure from society that, oh, you need to have a child. I know that. What was your experience like while waiting? Yes, and how are you pushing for support for women?
Okay, well, being in the public glare made it more challenging. I think it was something that I was challenged with from the very first day I got married. It was like I was supposed to just start popping babies almost immediately. And then everyone was just, you know, the whole world was looking at me. But thank God for a supportive husband. He would always tell me not to bother. And one thing that the society does not yet know is that when a woman is under pressure, it becomes really difficult to take in. It becomes really difficult to conceive because it messes up with your brain, and then it goes into your hormones and becomes more difficult. So the more you talk to a woman, the more you abuse a woman about childbearing, the more difficult it becomes for her to conceive. So for me, it was really, really difficult. But thank God for God. Thank God for the Holy Spirit. Thank God for my husband. And there was no pressure at all from my husband's family. They were all very supportive, and they did not make it seem like I was waiting at all.
Yeah, so Ma, there are two types of pressure. The first is pressure.
Well, can the speaker be a bit louder?
Louder.
Okay, I said there are two types of pressure when a woman just gets married. So the first pressure is the pressure of getting pregnant. The second pressure is the pressure of having a male son. Did you have that pressure being in that spotlight? Was that the sort of, you know, pressure you had? The second one?
Well, the first one first, and then the second one. Well, I would say from the public a little bit of that, but because my husband, Kabiyesi, didn't actually care about what gender. If it's a girl, it's a girl. If it's a boy, it's a boy. If it's twins, it's twins. He didn't care at all. So my mind was not on whether it's a boy or a girl. There was no reason to scan. There was no reason to find out if it's a boy or a girl. Wow. Whatever it is, I knew he was going to celebrate me and celebrate the child.
Wow, fantastic. Now, let me ask you, going back to the issue of International Women's Day, there's always a thin line between culture and women empowerment. There's a very thin line, because one second you want a woman to feel empowered, accomplished. At the same time, culture demands that you're submissive, you know, you have the man over your head, he's the leader, he's the one in charge. As a custodian of our culture, I mean, you're the Olori, how do you play these roles seamlessly, such that they don't interfere with each other, where you're culturally upright and intelligent, at the same time you're also a woman that is empowered in today's times?
Well, this is where the place of wisdom is needed. This is where wisdom is needed. It's a lot of wisdom, especially because it's expected of me as a wife, as an Olori, to submit to my king. Both culturally and scripturally, I uphold from both ends. So I know when to stop. I know when to speak. You need to understand your right first. So you know when it's your place to talk. You know when it's your place to let the man take the lead. But when it concerns you as a woman, you have no reason to keep quiet. Only an abusive man will shut his woman down. Especially because women hold a lot of grace. There are doors a man will knock on, and the woman will knock on, and the woman is able to get an opening faster than the man. So it's grace. It's nothing else other than the grace you carry as a woman. And when it comes to management, women are, in fact, women do a lot. You just need to let the man also feel like a partner in the business. I think it's more of a partnership. It's slavery when you start thinking that a woman has to keep quiet, a woman has to look like, a woman has to be dumb. You do not have to be dumb as a woman.
Yeah.
If there's a man shutting you down, if it has come into a place where you are afraid to speak because you are a woman, because you are married, then there is problem. But you can't also be a parrot and jump into the front when the minister is called to speak. So you need to understand and just set the balance there.
Fantastic. All right, let me take a final question for you before we go to
So,
Trace.
I have this question, which is that you are young. I mean, you know, your age was a topic of conversation when you first came on the scene. And yet, there's a way you carry yourself with such confidence when you speak. I saw a video of you recently where the Oni's friends came to visit. They were all men dressed, you know, so regally and looking so important. And for many of us, what we would see is that a woman would shy away, you know, especially given your age or that you're a woman. But you stood so confident. And I want to know, what would you attribute this confidence to? Is it education? Is it the support of your husband? Is it the support of a group of women?
Oh, well, there's a lot that came into play. There's a lot from. I started speaking as a child. I started speaking publicly as a teenager, and then it's very important to actually have support from people who you love and care about. My mother first started instilling the confidence in me, and then when I got married, she handed it over to my husband, who would always clap for me, and in fact, at some point, giving me monetary gifts to encourage me and say, "Well done, you did well."
Wow.
We have to run up, but I don't want you to go. I don't want you to go without telling us something nobody knows about you and the king.
I said it.
Just give us something juicy that we don't know about the Oni of the king.
Something the whole world doesn't know. Well, what I think people don't actually know about Kabiyesi and about my relationship with him is the uniqueness of the relationship. We are quite understanding. Kabiyesi is very understanding. I am very understanding. And behind all the royalty, the demands of the throne, we have our own safe place where we are just a man and his wife, all romantic, nice, and kind. And he's a wonderful father to his children.
What's the most romantic thing he has done for you? Flowers and all that?
Hey,
chocolate. No, we like gist on this table, please. It's International Women's Day.
There's a lot. There's a lot that
okay, we'll take it like that.
It's a little bit too...
Don't worry.
I don't know which of those to talk about.
So from what you've said, the Oni is a very, very supportive man.
Yes.
And we're happy, we're celebrating for celebrating women today. So
all right. On that note, we wrap up with you, madam. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there any final message to women you'd like to give before we run? Is there any final message to women you'd like to give?
Well, to every woman today, I want you to know that I celebrate you. And each passing day, I get to understand what it means to be a woman. There's a lot. As you grow, you see more. Congratulations. You are wonderful. You are capable of doing things that you cannot imagine. You are more than your imagination. God bless you. Happy celebrations to you all. Thank you all.
Well said. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we move on to our other guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So still celebrating International Women's Day, our next guest is a founder and principal consultant, Lunadec Global Services, a technology and solutions service delivery organization that focuses on human capital and local supply development initiatives. Welcome with us, Dr. Ibilola Amao. Welcome, madam. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Yay, good to have you on the show. So introducing you was a mouthful because obviously you're in the STEM industry and a lot of women find it difficult to come into that industry. Tell us a bit about the work you've done so far and how you're one of Africa's best mathematicians.
Well, thank you so much. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm so pleased to be here. I'm a civil and structural engineer. My doctorate was in computer-aided design and drafting, and then I specialized in 3D modeling of oil and gas facilities. So Lunadec was established in 1991. It will be 30 years in September this year.
Wow!
And we've been involved in democratizing and domesticating engineering technology and innovation solutions. Over the past 30 years, we've trained over 15,000 engineers directly and indirectly, as well as empowered over 100,000 STEM talent. I'm very passionate about girls in STEM and women in entrepreneurship. So apart from working and providing consultancy services in the energy, power, infrastructure, and oil and gas industries, I work a lot with young girls in helping them catch a vision to become leaders in male-dominated sectors. So thanks for having me.
Right. Let me follow up a bit on that, because when we hear STEM, when we hear engineering, civil engineering, it doesn't come across as a sector women are involved in. And in your work, why does it seem today we still don't have the results of quite a number of women in that sector? Is there a break in communication, or is that like we don't have the right facility or technological capacity to actually engage these women? What do you think is the reason why today we don't see the fruits of the labor of many of people like you, of yourselves, for the past years?
Thank you so much for that fantastic question. There's so many dimensions to that question. First, to encourage the girl child to study maths, physics, chemistry, and information technology is sometimes a challenge because most of the teachers in that space are male, and a lot of mothers do not feel comfortable having their daughters stay behind after-school programs to interact with a lot of male teachers and male colleagues. So we need to get more female maths, physics, and chemistry teachers into the higher learning educational system, as well as even in the senior secondary school. So Lonadec at the moment is working very hard to get more female STEM teachers, because for you to get science, technology, engineering, and maths graduates, you need to catch them young from SS1 to SS3. They must be career counseled to go into those areas, because there are a lot of boys in that area. So a lot of mothers don't want their girls in that space. So we need to also educate the parents. It's not a bad thing for a girl to stay behind after school if she's scientifically oriented. And even if her maths teacher is a male, I mean, it's not a bad thing as long as she's focused. So we have to address the cultural and environmental issues. Parents need to be educated. We need to have more female maths, physics, and chemistry teachers. And we need to also encourage male maths, physics, and chemistry teachers to be disciplined in the way they encourage young girls to come into the STEM field. Then going to university. I was obviously a minority. In Queen Mary College, University of London, we're only 2 female civil and structural engineers in a class of 50. That was in 1982, 85. But you see, they're he for she's are male lecturers who understand that it's tough for a young lady to be in a male-dominated class. So, I mean, we also need he for she lecturers. Even in A-levels and senior secondary school, we also need he for she teachers. Then when you come to the graduation, after graduation, I mean, there are different attractions for females. I mean, if you're not more of a tomboy, or if you're not somebody who is bold, courageous, and daring, you may get cowered, because a lot of male colleagues try and discriminate, not because they're biased particularly, but because they don't think women can do the things men do. And then when you get married and start having children, you really need a very good support system to ensure that you're able to deliver at par. And then you also need to be in a very strong learning mode to be able to compete with your male colleagues. I think becoming a leader in,
Okay,
I want to get a few more
becoming
questions for you.
Today is International Women's Day, and obviously the theme for this year is Choose to Challenge. We sort of have an idea of what you'll be choosing to challenge, but I still want you to tell us clearly, what do you choose to challenge in 2021 International Women's Day?
I choose to challenge the dearth of female leaders in STEM-focused industries. We don't have enough female leaders in the energy, power, infrastructure, and oil and gas industries. And even in the entrepreneurship side of things, we don't have enough females running businesses in those areas. So those are the areas where I choose to challenge. And that's really what my life is about.
Okay, so I would have asked you the numbers you mentioned, having trained over 100,000, the ratio of men to women, but you sort of answered that question that we do not have enough women. So I want to ask, I noticed that the young men and the young women of these days like to be trendy. They want to be glamorous. They think that the people in the arts are more out there, more interesting. And so it sort of discourages them from getting into STEM. That's because they do not see models, women models in STEM who are actually trendy and look like what they want to be. So what are you people doing something about, projecting STEM, that you can be a science student and be on point? I don't know if you get me, man.
Thank you so much. I think it's a misconception that you have to be macho, male, and untrendy as a STEM product, as a female STEM product. To be a STEM product, you could either be somebody who is outdoor or indoor. So outdoor engineers spend time in the field and on site, and they are geared up in PPEs, as well as probably a hard hat. And I mean, they need to look like the boys out there to be safe in the execution of their roles. But that's a fraction of the percentage of the time they are actually working. And obviously, you would also be a wife, a mother, a sister, and you'd probably have a social life. I mean, so there's a work-life balance side of things. And then you could also be a design office engineer, whereby you don't even go out much. And then there are different aspects and dimensions of engineering. For example, you could be a project manager. You could also be somebody in cost engineering. You could be an HSC person. So I think the fact is we haven't educated people enough. We haven't promoted females in STEM leadership enough. And the male chauvinist press, as well as publicity that is out there, puts a lot of young girls off. There are very many trendy engineers, and most times you see an engineer dressed up at a weekend or at home or at a party, and she doesn't look anything like an engineer. Right. It's only when she's wearing a hard hat. Only when she's wearing a hard hat and wearing a
right. Yeah. So I have a concern really, because the world is advancing quite fast towards the digital age. And I have a fear that Nigeria particularly, is being left behind. So we're struggling with even just giving our children, especially our girls, basic education. I mean, the number in the north of the number of out-of-school children, and especially girls, is quite overwhelming. And I wonder, having challenges, getting them basic education, in what way? How can we, one person to another, without government or anything, how can we help sort of even bridge the gap, the STEM gap with these disenfranchised kids?
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much. There's a pilot program going on at the moment with LASRIC, where we're digitally upskilling teachers at the moment. So Lonadec and the Cedar STEM and Entrepreneurship Hub is training in a pilot program, 60 STEM teachers, digitally upskilling them. And then there's also the Microsoft, LinkedIn, GitHub free empowerment program, where we could actually empower young girls as well as teachers to be digitally upskilled. Since the pandemic started last year, we've actually begun to look at remote work and virtual work. So the need to digitally upskill our girls is so critical, because during your childbearing years, you should be able to decide if you want to work from home or work from anywhere. So I think now we're beginning to see that we have to lay an emphasis on digitally upskilling our girls in schools, our females at work, so that they have a choice to work from anywhere or work from home. So that's a very good valid point. We need to digitally upskill females because it puts them in an advantage when they have to work from home. Thank you.
All right, let's bring this conversation to a baseline conversation where people at home can actually understand the benefits of STEM in the communities. Many people would like to encourage their children in engineering, but they don't see why. The arts are the popular things, music, fashion, lifestyle. That's where the money is. People are seeing people being successful in these sectors. Could you tell us the advantages of encouraging young girls into STEM? What is that end result we seek to achieve, so that parents who are watching today can understand how important it is to encourage their children in STEM?
Yeah, I'd like to take it from the perspective of accelerating the attainment of sustainable development goals. Between $3.5 to $4.4 billion is going to be spent in the next 10 years to achieve the sustainable development goals. And at least 60% of it will be expended in science, technology, engineering, and maths. And in some cases, up to 80%. So if you look at the statistics of these amounts of money that will be spent, it makes sense, honestly, to have people dive into and engage in science, technology, engineering, and maths. With the 5G being rolled out in the near future and things being digitized vis-a-vis the post-pandemic era, we really need to get more girls involved in STEM. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, arts is very important. Arts is a very good side of the flip side of the coin in STEM, but we also need to look at the digital advancement ongoing globally and how we can plug into the advantages that comes with sustainable development goals attainments and the transition that is going on, the digital transformation that is going on as we speak.
Right.
Okay, so if we're driving this push to be contemporary in terms of STEM, especially for the girl child and for women, I'd like you to address the fact that our educational sector is still light years behind what is contemporary. Our average curriculum is still teaching things that were taught in the same thing that I was taught, that people were taught in 1980-something, 1990-something. We're still teaching that same system now, when there should have been a major rejig, considering that technology has moved away from the kind of things we are teaching tech-wise in our schools. What are you doing to influence curriculum change in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm an advocate for bridging the gap between industry and academia. I also believe very firmly that skills development and acquisition is critical to create value in one's community. So there's a need for public-private partnership, and there's a need for us to look at the needs, the specific skills gaps that we need to drive our economy, to take full advantage of our natural resources and mineral resources in a nation like Nigeria. We really need to rejig our curriculum to ensure that we're not just exporting raw materials and our resources that have not been processed, but we develop the skills, competencies, capacity, and capability to ensure that we're able to process and harness the full value of our mineral and natural resources, so that we're exporting finished products and we're creating jobs and wealth in Nigeria. To do that, we really need to change the curriculum, upgrade the curriculum, so that we're a process technology-driven economy, as opposed to exporting raw materials and crude resources and paying a lot of money to import finished products. So you're very correct.
Yeah, okay, Ma. Are you there?
Private partnerships.
Oh, she's still talking. Are you there,
Okay,
Ma?
it's frozen, I think. Let's go on a quick break. I think we're having some technology issues.
The irony.
Okay, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Dr. Amawo, are you still there?
Thank you so much.
Yes,
and thanks
yes,
for having me back.
All right, so Bisi had a question.
Okay, Dr. Ibilola, you know, reading about you, I realized that your father noticed you had a love for science and math, and then encouraged you in that line. But there are a lot of young girls out there who do not have parents to notice what they like. They are not in a space where they are even able to afford education. Now, what are some of the things you think we all can do to identify and support STEM?
Okay, thank you so much. I think if you notice there's a young girl that has a very curious mind, somebody who asks a lot of questions, somebody who likes to fix things, and somebody who is courageous about converting problems into solutions, then you really need to encourage her to think in the line of STEM. And this doesn't have to be you could actually have somebody who loves computers and is information technology driven or focused. And it could be somebody who plays Legos or fixes radios or telephones or can fix the television when it's not working or something. So you can see that that person probably is a mechanical or electrical engineering driven or focused person. So I think we need to study our young children more and appreciate their innate talents and passions, and then begin to career counsel them in the right way. And then we shouldn't restrict girls to the more feminine careers, because sometimes some girls are just wired to be problem solvers, and problem solving really is all about engineering and STEM.
Yeah. So, Dr. Amao, there's something quite striking about your, biography, which is that at age 20, you went ahead to study for a PhD. And many people at that age are trying to figure out what to do, where to go. would you attribute that to your father's support, or that you're just the sort of child that knew where you were headed and what you wanted?
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm a problem solver by nature. I love to identify problems and convert them into initiatives, solutions, opportunities, what have you. So because I'm a maths and physics oriented person, when I finished my first degree, I got a first class. And in England, you don't need to do a master's if you have a first class. You can go on to undertake a PhD. And then I had a conversation with my late father and said I preferred to go for a PhD as opposed to a master's. And he said, go ahead. And that's exactly what I did at 20. But I would say my father was always there to encourage me. And I mean, for girls who don't have a father who is an engineer, I think they would also find uncles, cousins, and even aunties who are engineers. So you have to seek out for people who are wired in the way you would like to be wired. And this is where looking out for role models and mentors is so important.
Okay, so I wanted to, obviously, you've mentioned over and over again the importance of he for she when it comes to lecturers. And now you mentioned having role models, because most of the time the established authorities in STEM are men. So if we want to have more women thrive in that space, it would benefit from having support of men. How are you pushing for established women in the industry and even for men? Because you are among the you are among the top mathematicians in Africa. How are you pushing for men in your space to take ownership of bringing women up within that same space?
Okay, thank you so much. I think we have a lot of women initiatives in Nigeria, for example. There's the Women in Energy Network, there's the WIMBIs, there's the Commonwealth Business Women's Network, there's We Connect, and then there's the oil and gas. There's associations that actually encourage females. So I honestly think an association for professional women engineers in Nigeria. So I think that these initiatives are currently working on girls in STEM initiatives and Catch Them Young initiatives. So it's a matter of getting the kind of publicity that would also get the young girls to know which associations exist that actually provide the platforms for them to improve in their development, as well as chart a career in male-dominated spaces. We also have men who are he for she's in the energy, power, infrastructure, oil and gas industry. And I also think that the schools and the universities have to forge relationships with not just companies, but also such associations to bridge the gap.
All right, have there been any, could you, now I'm going a bit personal because I wanted to know if you've had any experiences where your capacity and your competence have been challenged and you had to stand up for yourself in this sector especially.
Okay, yeah, I think I mentioned that when I moved from Nigeria to England to a boarding school when I was 15, I had a maths teacher. In Nigeria, we were studying traditional maths. And when I moved to a boarding school in England, it was modern maths. And I was a bit confused about this transition. And I needed support from my maths teacher, who was a man. And he just didn't have the time for me. He just told me he wasn't prepared to spend or waste his time with me, because he obviously thought a Nigerian girl coming from Nigeria didn't know anything. And that I was going to end up as a housewife in Nigeria, so he didn't quite have the time, and he was more interested in the boys. And I had to really work very hard on my own to catch up with the class and minimize my need for his support. And I was quite grateful after I got an A in my maths, because I'd done a lot of hard work. And I would like to encourage young girls that they shouldn't be disturbed or discouraged by male teachers who don't seem to have the time for them or who discriminate against them, that we will always face discrimination as women in the minority in STEM-focused environments, but we should never give up. We should do the extra work, be very diligent and hardworking, and God will obviously make us successful at the end of the day. Okay, so sometimes you're faced with challenges and discrimination, but we really need to work hard enough.
Let me get one final question for you.
Dr. Bilola, Your Vision 2020 is all about empowering women, young girls in STEM. And I know that you have offices where they can go after work and, you know, handle technology, school, and handle technology. Now, how can parents who are interested in getting their wards registered with you, how do they go about it? Is it, you know, is it everywhere in Nigeria as we speak, or just in that organization?
Okay, then we are currently on Facebook, Women and Girls in STEM Africa, and we have the CEDA STEM and Entrepreneurship Hub in Yaba, in our office in Jibo, and then we're online. We're currently empowering about 7,000 people online on an online platform. I'm sure I'll pass the information on to you so that anybody who has who are interested in this can access free materials.
All right, let me take a few tweets before you run off. Yeah, okay.
Bilikis Bukola rather said, everything today stands for is really worth it. But as women, we must start loving, helping, supporting, defending our fellow women. Challenge status quo. Some women still use their fellow women simply because they are high above. Charity will begin with us. God bless women. Organizer says, I choose to challenge the ill treatment of women in the hands of their in-laws. Jide Badge says, I must say, ladies on set are the most talented women that have ever graced the planet called Earth. I love your bravery, tenacity, and the values you uphold strongly as women. Happy International Women's Day to you all. Without you ladies, the world would be so boring to live in. I had to read that. I just had to read that.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ibilola Amao, for joining us this morning. We appreciate you greatly. And congratulations on what you do. And we just hope for the best, that more young girls can take advantage of your services and participate in the STEM sector. Thank you very much, madam, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right. So, ladies, we're about to wrap up the show. As we run off, and I'd like you just to give a one-sentence message to every young girl out there, because today is International Women's Day, and we've been talking about our challenges, but just give one final advice to women before we wrap up. Would you like to go?
As a woman,
yes,
you should know that you are capable of more.
Fantastic.
Yeah. For me, it would be that do not be afraid, and if you're afraid, do it afraid.
I love that. For me, I would say that don't shrink back. As women, we're visible, don't shrink back. Show off everything you're capable of doing and announce it to the world. The world would accept you if you accept yourself. So start by accepting yourself.
Oh, fantastic. I love that one. And I would like to go with what Nima said. If you have the capacity to earn it, you have the same capacity to own it. What you earn, you can own. And you should be allowed to. That's all we can take on the show. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.